We are going to stay in a strange hotel today. We are not responsible for the events that you will experience in this hotel, where mysterious events have been happening for 40 years. Colorado. Located in the Midwestern part of America, with an altitude of 4,400 meters, it is the highest altitude state. The American Air Force is also located in this state. The first rodeo in the world was held here in 1869. Cheeseburger, which most people eat with pleasure, appeared in Colorado. For this reason, this settlement discovered by Spanish explorers was given the name Colorado, which means red in Spanish. But today, while we're eating cheeseburgers, we won't watch rodeos. And we're not going to visit the U.S. Air Force. We're going to shine a spotlight on a 40-year-old mystery in the 8th largest state in the 50-state United States. We go back about 40 years. We're at the hotel that inspired a Stanley Kubrick film, The Shining, which is among the films most appreciated by film critics in the history of the world's cinema. Since the 1970s, there have been known cases of unusual activity in this hotel. Stephen King, who spent a night at this hotel, decided to write a novel based on his experiences. The Shining, one of the best-known examples of the psychological thriller genre, was among the best-selling entries for weeks. Director Stanley Kubrick decided to make a film of Stephen King's novel and adapted it to the screen. Everyone watched with sticking to their seats and breathless, the movie Shining, in which Jack Nicholson showed great acting. The name of the hotel that is the subject of books and movies, where Stephen King also stayed for a few days, is the Stanley Hotel. This hotel, hang tight, it's famous for its ghosts. We don't know if you're afraid of ghosts, but researchers do say that some non-human beings, some energy condensates, move freely between us. In 1909, renowned businessman and inventor, Freeland Oscar Stanley, completed the construction of the Stanley Hotel under his name. Inventor Stanley built this hotel in 1903, on the advice of his doctor, hoping that his tuberculosis would improve. Inventor Stanley chose Colorado, a country in the western United States, which had clean, mountain air. On his journey to Estes Park on the advice of his doctor, Stanley fell in love with the region and promised himself he would come here every summer. Inventor Stanley, he was wealthy. He built the hotel on land he bought from the Earl of Dunraven, an Irish nobleman. After visiting the area twice during a hunting trip in 1872, the Irish nobleman Dunraven illegally purchased approximately 1,500 acres of the surrounding land and wanted to make it a special hunting ground. However, locals could not agree with the Irish nobleman. Dunraven, who did not get along well with the indigenous people, left the area in 1884. Inventor Stanley named the hotel he had built to pay off his faithful debit, the Dunraven. In this way, he would also have paid his loyalty to the Irish nobleman, but the people hated Dunraven so much that when Stanley proposed the Dunraven for the name of the hotel he had built, the local people of 180 people opposed it and signed a petition. The Irish nobleman heard about it and was very upset. He died after a while. The real events begin now. According to some rumors that have survived to the present day, the ghost of the Irishman Dunraven is walking in room 217 of the Stanley Hotel. Those who stay in this room see his ghost. In room 217 of the hotel, the lights were flashing by themselves and the ghost's face was visible. Let's go back to before the hotel was opened. Years before the hotel opened, Stanley and his twin brother Francis had started a photography company. Stanley and his twin brother invented the steam-powered Stanley Steamer series, which would later multiply their fortunes after this company they sold to Kodak. Paying paid in advance for his cars, Stanley, who did not believe in credit, always demanded prepayment, so he also paid the money needed for the construction of the hotel, in cash. According to reports, this amount was over $10 million. With $10 million today, you can build another fantastic hotel. Built more than a century ago, the hotel had, of course, many characteristics. Its veranda, billiard room and grand staircase still retain their authenticity today. The billiard room was Stanley's favorite area. Stanley, targeting the rich social environment in the East, spared no expense and offered many luxurious services, including a casino, a shooting range and an airport to his hotel. Stanley was so insistent on rich clientele that, the time of World War I, even when tourism was never around, he sat in his hotel lobby turning away unsuitable customers. Hotel. In the early 20th century it became famous as the Shining Hotel. At the turn of the century, it hosted many respected names from Theodore Roosevelt to John Philip Sousa and the Emperor of Japan Hirohito. However, things did not go as planned. Although the hotel was popular, it went through a period of difficult times. They even came to the brink of bankruptcy. However, the hotel was revived in the 1970s with the visit of Stephen King. It has regained former popularity. With the change of hotel management, the haunted hotel regained its former glory and experienced its most popular period with Stephen King's novel and film The Shining. Room 217, allegedly where Stephen King himself stayed and described as haunted in the novel, and changed to 237 in Stanley Kubrick's film adaptation, still remains popular and is usually booked months in advance. People really stay in the room hoping to see a ghost. Would you really give a few pounds for a hotel room in the hope of seeing a ghost? Let's go back a little further. Room 217 actually has an interesting history that goes back even further than Stephen King. In 1917, the assistant chief steward, Elizabeth Wilson, wanted to light the hotel with lanterns on a night of fierce storm, when the power went out. When he wanted to use the lantern for lighting number 217, the lantern exploded with a big noise and also caused the floor under the room to collapse. Wilson survived this accident with 2 broken ankles and had nightmares after that. How realistic is debatable, but the situation that makes Wilson's story creepy is a little more creepy. At that time, the newspapers had made news with different names for this maid who had an accident at the hotel, not Elizabeth Wilson. Since all the employee records were lost and there were no photos, it could never be known who was really in that room at that moment. So the situation has become even more complicated. In the haunted hotel, different movies were also made. When comedian Jim Carrey came to the hotel for the movie Dumb and Dumber, he wanted to stay in room 217. The film crew warned him severely. But the room became even more mysterious when Carrey decided to leave without explanation just 3 hours after he settled in the room. Department Director Kevin Laffey said in a statement, "None of us know what happened to him in that room. He never talks about that room." When he said it, it was literally scary. Many ghost hunters say room 401 is actually the hotel's most haunted room, and the home of a ghost thieving and stealing from guests' property. So it's not clear whether room 217 or room 401 in the hotel is haunted. Again, many believe that the fourth floor of the hotel is the source of paranormal activity. Rumor has it that there's always some creepy kid laughter on this floor of the hotel. Another famous ghost of the hotel, which has often made news, is the spirit of former mechanic Paul. The guide to the ghost tours of the hotel claims that the spirit of the mechanic, who died of a heart attack while shoveling snow outside in 2005, interacted with guests during the night ghost tours. Guests who have visited this hotel many times have claimed that they have seen the founder of the hotel, Freeland Stanley, in the hotel's much-loved billiard room and bar many times from time to time. The Stanley, which depicts a hotel horribly isolated from civilization in both the novel and the film, is actually just outside Estes Park, the summer town an hour's drive from Denver. If you want to leave, please be careful. Do not stay alone in rooms 217 and 401. Today we'll all take a holiday at a cursed resort. I mean, we're actually gonna try to take a vacation. This is Shanji Ghost Resort in Taiwan. Many films about ghosts have been made. So far, thousands of photos have been shared in the press and social media alleging ghosts. Are these real? Or are ghosts a figment of the imagination or an illusion of the eye? Discussions and claims will continue as humanity lives. Maybe in advanced technologies we'll actually be able to see, or interact with, extra-human beings. Maybe we won't. No matter how advanced the technology we have today, the mystery of a strange incident 42 years ago remains unsolved. This is Taiwan. Taiwan is a small island nation of 25 million people. Taiwan has had a tourist season for decades: June, July, and August. Thousands of tourists come to see the country. Our story is actually connected to tourists and tourism. Just 42 years ago, when the timetables showed that 1978, in Taiwan, which survived a major economic crisis, under economic development projects, investors and architects decided to establish a resort facing the northern coast, 15 kilometers from the capital, Taipei. Investors had planned to fill their pockets with dollars in the logic of gaining 15 villages, and to build a huge facility in developing Taiwan at a low cost. The owners of the resort, called Shanji, had designated American soldiers and Taiwanese dollar millionaires in the area as targets, aiming to make money by visiting resort areas for those rich. They'd put in 1 and win 5. But planning didn't mean accomplishing a job. The Holiday Village bosses were focused only on the money they were going to make. The terrain they found for the resort was like a corner of heaven. The whole plan was completed on paper. The people who saw the project were fascinated. The resort project resembled a strange UFO village. Seen from a distance, it looked as if dozens of UFOs had landed here. Hundreds of construction workers stepped in to complete the project. The workers were working day and night, working hard for the resort, which is set to open months later. No one really knew about the disasters that were going to happen. The first dig for the project was hit, giant scoops. The construction of the Holiday Village project had just started a few weeks ago. Accidents, deaths, and very frequent traffic accidents in the immediate vicinity during the construction of the project did not attract anyone's attention at first. A curse had already started wandering around here without telling anyone. The accidents that happened seemed ordinary to everyone at first. A traffic accident, or the death of a worker at work, actually seemed to be a situation that could always happen. Work accidents were followed by deaths by suicides, and suicides by many strange events. There was unrest in the region now. The project, in which millions of dollars were invested, had started with a curse. According to the Taiwanese, a mass grave discovered during excavation work during construction officially added a curse to the curse of the Shanji Resort Village. The construction workers no longer want to work there, but the deaths, suicides, and frequent traffic accidents there were linked to the resort project on top the mass grave there. A bricklayer working in the construction of a holiday village told the department chief about the unrest he was experiencing. For days, when he entered the construction site, he began to feel that a strange energy was forming on him. A strange energy accumulated in his body every time he started working. The wall master who went to see a doctor at one point had no health problems. The trouble and depression experienced by the bricklayer, who told those around him that there was a strange energy in the construction area, continued to increase every day. One day, while that bricklayer was building bricks in a very high place, he ignored the warnings of his friends, and without taking any security measures, he suddenly started to perform on the high ground by walking like an acrobat. His friends watched the dangerous demonstration made by the bricklayer with fearful eyes. Even though they warned him, he continued to make ridiculous movements without paying attention and lost his balance and fell to his death. According to the villagers' belief, the spirit of that bricklayer has been possessed by inhuman beings who haunt the resort village. The bricklayer, whose brain was somehow controlled, was actually forced to commit suicide. For the resort, built with houses resembling UFOs, the statue of a dragon, allegedly used at mass in Taiwan to open the entrance section, was also destroyed. The owners of the resort, which began construction in 1978, went bankrupt in 1982, years after hitting the first pickaxe. The project was abandoned. No investors came to the area, which is believed to be haunted. The houses prepared for rent and sale to the rich people remained vacant. At least we think it's empty. Unless the non-human beings are vacationing here. Yeah, we think this place is empty. Taiwanese believe that what happened was not a coincidence, but a purely mystical cause. And do you think such a curse is possible? Couldn't the accidents have happened by accident or mistake? Can't the investors have picked the wrong place for the project where no one can stop by? Or is it really the mass grave found underneath the construction during the excavation work that made this place the curse? This subject, which lies deep inside the human mind, is actually quite daunting. It's strange how many mishaps, accidents, and deaths can happen in one place at a time. Written sources confirm that there are dead people, so when the body dies, the story doesn't end. The spirit lives on according to the beliefs. It is believed that the souls of people who have died throughout human history continue to exist on Earth, occasionally visiting people and places. So, are the souls of the dead that lie in the mass grave at the site of the actual construction project here? Did the accidents and mishaps really happen because of the ghosts and the spirits? Nobody wants to go into the resort project that the construction owners abandoned. The houses are just waiting. Taiwanese, on the other hand, say that just being brave is not enough to enter here. They believe that setting foot on the land located inside the resort village will bring great bad luck, accidents and troubles will not leave the collar of the person who enters here. Houses that are believed to be home to the spirits of the dead look like UFOs. Could there be an alien mystery here? No scientific studies have been conducted on this, but locals never believe in the alien curse. While tourists can take photos of this mysterious resort with cameras from a distance, it seems impossible to vacation there. Of course, the brave one can go and vacation here. We didn't dare stay for one night. We think an all-inclusive holiday village in Antalya Kemer in Turkey will be safer.